Alright y'all, let me show you a way I like to mount my horns now. One, it's cheaper than mounting a full body mount. Two, it saves wall space. If you plan on killing a lot of deer, you better have some big walls, because eventually over time you're going to fill them up. Third, it's a lot easier when you cross state line with them with a CWD, because you got to cut the horns off the skull, or you got to boil that skull plate. You got to get the brain matter off of it from transporting from state to state. Alright, let's go find Daniel, let him help me show you how this is done.
Alright everyone, Jeremy has turned the rest of the video over to me to kind of show you how we do these horn mounts. And I've done them for years. My daddy mounted deer heads, and I kind of learned that from him, just doing the horn mounts, or plaque mounts that some people call them. But first thing you're going to do is you're going to, what kind of plaque you want. There's several different kinds you can get. You can buy them already cut out, just plain shapes. It's just whatever you want. Jeremy likes doing the state he kills it in. Whatever the state is he kills it in, that's the one he likes to do. So you're going to decide what plaque you want, what kind you want. You're going to have it cut out, or you can buy them. I don't even know how much one of them cost, but you can buy them. And you're also going to need these horn forms. And as you can tell, this is a large, and this is a small here. Large, my favorite to use, just because, like, say for instance this deer right here, he fits in there fairly good. You still got to grind some of this bone off around this skull, and you can see here his small one, he's a lot bigger than that one. So large will make that fit in there just right. So what you're going to do, once you order these and get them in, these are like $12, $13. You can order them off of any taxidermy website. You're going to get your horns. And if you have just some extremely long bones anywhere that you don't feel like grinding down, I got a grinder out here. I just pretty much grind it to fit just right. But you want it to set down in that little trough, I guess you'd call it, right there. You want it to set, you want the horns to set down in there, because once you get them ground down and setting down in there good, you're going to screw them to this form. I usually do 2 screws. Inch screws, 1¼ screws, that way they don't come out the back. But if they come out the back, you know, you can grind them off, no big deal. But I always drill a hole in the skull plate here of the deer before I run a screw through it, because if you don't and you just try to force a screw through the skull plate, you will break the skull plate, and then it's not going to look right. You're pretty much messed up on a horn mount, or really any kind of mount. But once I get it screwed onto the form here, I got some of this, all this is a carbondo, and this is a hardener for it. I looked it up. I think you can buy this and this together like 13 bucks on Lowe's website or something. It ain't much, and you can do a lot of deer with one of these. This will run out before this will, so you probably need 3 or 4 of these per gallon jug of Bondo. So you're going to mix that up. I got some Dixie cups I use just to mix them up in. And you got to be pretty quick about this, because this stuff gets hard really fast. I like mixing it up to a grayish pink color when I'm mixing it, because this stuff here is red and this is gray. So when you're mixing this in, you want to get it to where it's that pinkish, you know, you can get a pink tint to it. You can tell that it's in there. That means it's, and you want to get it really mixed up really good. You don't want no solid gray colors from the Bondo itself, because it means it won't dry fast or dry right. So you're going to get it in there. You're going to just fill this up. I mean, this is going to be, this deer will be setting, his horns will be sitting in there, and you're just going to fill it up. Just get it all in there. Any cracks on the sides, you're just going to get it all in there. Next, after you let your Bondo dry here, you're going to take, I got a file that I use. It's got a really rough side and then a really smoother side, and I'm just going to smooth that up, that Bondo, once it dries, because it won't be smooth whenever you're putting it, once it dries and whenever you're putting it on there to begin with. It just kind of rough looking, but you can smooth that out with you can use sandpaper if you want to. It doesn't really matter. Once I get that shaped up and smoothed out with my Bondo, I'm going to take some of this Part A and Part B sculpting epoxy. I think you can buy this for like 24 bucks, both of them, off of Amazon, like 24 bucks. Pretty cheap. You can do several deer with this. I don't really know how many you can do, probably 10 or 15, depending on how big the deer is. But you're going to mix both your part A and part B. You're going to get, like I say, it just depends on the deer. You're going to get a fairly good pinch of it out of both part A and part B, and you're going to just roll it together. Roll it up, get it all nice and mixed up together, and you're going to roll it out in a really long strand, and then you're going to mash it right up against the pedicle of the horns you're mounting. You're just going to push it up in there, and you're going to smooth it out. And I have some of this solvent right here. It's a safety solvent. All it does is just kind of keep that epoxy from sticking to your fingers when you're trying to smooth it out and make it look nice. Once you get your epoxy on both sides, I always do both sides of the horns with the epoxy like that. And then I'm going to take, you can use a little flathead screwdriver, just something with a flat end on it. And I'm going to make a little bitty gap in between this pedicle of the deer and the epoxy that I just mashed up against it. What that's going to do is just kind of create a little spot where I can tuck the felt in once it dries. And it takes a while to dry, so you know, don't rush it. Wait 30, or well, more than 30 minutes, probably an hour or two. If you want to, wait overnight. It makes it that much better. Anyway, after the epoxy dries, you're going to take your felt. You can use any kind of felt you want. You can use pink, you can use white, blue, green, gray, doesn't matter. I kind of like just a regular brown. I have used black felt before, but brown just kind of matches everything better. So take your felt, and I think the sheet I got, it's a huge sheet of it. Used to, they come in a 12 by 12 cut square, which was perfect, but now they just come in a really big sheet of it. So buy at Walmart, like $6, not much. And I cut out a 12 by 12 inch piece of felt. And when I start it off, your horns are going to be on your form like this. I turn it over on the bottom, and you got to have a staple gun. I use a staple gun to do this. You can use really small nails or tacks if you want to. I just use a staple gun. It's simpler, easier. I can just kind of go pretty quick at it. But to begin with, you're going to turn your horns over on the bottom, and right here at the point, you're going to put one staple with the felt. You're just going to lay your felt over it. You're going to put one staple in right there. Then after that, you're just going to take your horns. You're going to fold your felt back up to you. I always kind of like setting my horns in front of me here, facing away from me. And I'll fold the felt up here in between the horns. After that, you're going to take your scissors, and you're going to kind of run right down the middle of the beam. You're just going to kind of have to look and kind of guess, but you're going to cut the felt kind of down to the middle of the beam here. You're going to stop right above the top of this burr on this deer, on this antler, any antler, but you're going to stop right on top of the burr. Then you're going to feel where that burr is, and you're going to cut above the top of that burr, the felt, all the way around. And you don't really want to cut it all out at one time. You kind of want to cut, and then you're going to tuck your felt in that little gap that you made with the epoxy. And I just kind of like to cut and tuck and cut and tuck just to make it where you don't come up short back behind here on the side or something with your felt. Otherwise, you got to put another piece of felt on. Otherwise, you're going to see the form and everything that you got the horns on. You may see part of the horns or the skull here, skull plate. But when you get all the way around to the back side, you're going to be wrapping your felt around. You're going to get it over here to this side. You're going to have a piece you're going to wrap around, and you're going to put a staple right here on the back side of this form. And what that's going to do is just hold that felt there, and then you're going to come around with a piece on the back, and you're going to put it over the top, and you're going to staple it under the bottom. That just hides that staple that you have right here. Same thing as the other side. Once you get that done, you're going to turn it over. And sometimes you got to kind of tap your staples in that you put in, or little tacks or whatever you want to use. You got to tap them in. Then you got to cut the excess felt off that's on the bottom. Once you get that done, I kind of like to look at it. Sometimes you'll have a little ripple in your felt or something. You can kind of rub them out. Don't worry about it. If they're not perfect, you can rub them out, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna put it on the wall. You're not really gonna be messing with it after that, so you can rub them out where you won't see them, and then once you put it on the wall, you're not gonna be messing with it, so it's not gonna hurt it. If you have to, I don't like doing it, but if you have to and you got, you know, some felt that cut a little short and you're trying to get it to tuck up in there and it won't stay, you can take some super glue and glue that. I don't like to do it because the super glue will leak through the felt, and then it's just a really dark spot right there, and it gets hard and it kind of stands out, but you know, it's no big deal. I mean, if you don't mind it, that's fine. I just don't like to do it. I like being as neat as I can be. Once you get that done though, you're just gonna take your plaque, line up the best you can your horns here that's on the form just in the center of the plaque, and I always put 2 screws in it. You know, if your plaque's 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch thick, usually 1 inch, 1.25 screws plenty long enough, and you won't run it out the other side of your form here. So fairly simple. Like I say, like $13, $14 for this stuff. 24, 25 bucks I think is what I found these Part A and Part B epoxy for. Your felt, $6, and like I say, I don't know how many deer you can do with it. Probably, I don't know, 20 deer with that. Solvent, I'm not sure how much it was. Can't be more than $3 or $4. These 13 bucks, $13, $14. I can't remember how much they are. They kind of vary between sizes. Like I say, small and large. They're a little different price in the different sizes. But anyway, hope y'all enjoyed this. Let's go back over and finish out the video with Jeremy. Alright y'all, we're back over here with Jeremy. Here's some of his, none of these are my deer now, all these are his, so.
but he done them all for me.
Okay, yeah, we can say that. I've handled every one of these deer multiple times, but hey, what y'all think of these? Here's a Mississippi, Arkansas, you got what?
You got Iowa and Oklahoma here, bucks killed last year.
Yep.
What do y'all think about cutting the plaque out in the shape of the state that it comes from?
Yeah.
You know, I like it because it's unique. Somebody walks in, they like, ooh, that Oklahoma buck. Like I said, save space.
Yeah.
You know,
they look neat.
Look neat.
Yeah.
And they've done got pretty ticky, and I sort of see why the game fish are doing it, keep them transmitting this CWD. But later on, we're gonna come out with one. Daniel's gonna show you how to do a skull mount when you kill a deer out of state,
and bring it across state lines,
and then bring them home state lines, and you can do it like that.
Yep.
That later. Because the main reason I do it like this, is I just cut them off with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
You know, I've cut trees my whole life, so I can run a chainsaw.
Yep.
I can whack them off and
get them on back.
Clean them up. You know, take a torch and burn them, or pressure wash them. But you know, tell us a unique way you may have to do in your horns.
Yep.
Just leave in comments.
And if you liked the video, hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe, because we got plenty more coming out.
That's right. We finna chase the rut this year. We finna start north and we finna work south. You know, that's 3rd to 4th week of October. We're gonna be all the way north in Wisconsin, maybe Minnesota, and we're gonna finish it up in the middle of January down here in the south. So
yep.
Let's get to it. Hopefully it'll be a good year. So
appreciate it.